Hello, my friends. Comment allez-vous? How are you doing? ¿Cómo estás? All right, so today I've got plenty of MLB picks for you. So in this live stream, I will reveal my favorite baseball bets for today, Wednesday, August 9. I had to take a break from the live stream last week because I went out of town and things would have been complicated to bring all of my gear where I was staying at. All right, so today, first of all, if you have been following me for a while, you know that I have developed 19 MLB betting systems that are backed by 7 years of data. And now every single day, I track which teams fit under these systems. Now I don't bet them blindly. I dig deeper in order to figure out whether I like those plays or not. Because betting all of them would probably not be a profitable strategy. So I tend to be picky with those games. Also, my picks are based on a statistical model that I have developed and refined over the years, and that allows me to bet also on totals, on the first 5 innings, sometimes on team totals, and also some player prop bets. But my free picks, the one I share on YouTube, are mostly on the money line and sometimes the total. All right, so today my betting systems recommend betting a total of 4 different teams. So I will discuss all of them and let you know whether I believe they are good bets or not. Well, a little spoiler alert, I have 3 official betting picks for you today. 3 that I've actually bet this morning and that I shared to all of my members and that I want to share with you today. Okay, so first of all, let's see what happened yesterday. I gave you 2 free picks on YouTube, under 10 in the Royals versus Red Sox game, but unfortunately the Royals scored way too many runs. If I remember correctly, they won the game 9-3. So we lost that bet, but we did win the Rays play against the Cards. And you can see on the right-hand side, the premium picks that were shared at mjpicks.com. We also added the Angels against the Giants in Major League Baseball. We lost a tennis bet, and we won both WNBA picks, the Sparks pick 'em at the Fever, and also the over in the Las Vegas versus Dallas game. And speaking of the WNBA, we have been red hot with those plays. In the past 17 betting picks have led to a 13-4 record. You can see the latest betting picks that I have shared on that sport. We have been red hot. All right, so let's get started with today's play. The first one is backed by a betting system that I like a lot, which is called the snapped winning streak. First of all, before I keep moving, you guys may know that I've had some mic issues recently. I don't see any comments about this in the chat, so I figure that you can hear me well. But if some of you could confirm in the chat, that would be appreciated. I want to make sure that you can hear me well during this live stream. Okay, so like I said, the first pick is backed by the snapped winning streak system, which goes like this. Fade the road team if they have lost their previous game after winning at least 5 in a row. Sorry. Now, can you guess which team is concerned by this system? The Twins have won 5 straight games before losing yesterday. And since they are on the road, well, if you follow the rules of this system, you should fade them, which means the pick goes to the Detroit Tigers. Earlier this morning, the best odds I could obtain were plus 144. Maybe the line has moved up or down since then. I don't know. All right, now let me share my screen. So as you can see, the Twins' schedule. So they did win 5 games in a row before losing yesterday. They got blanked 6-0 against those same Tigers. Now, there are many reasons why I like this betting system. First of all, let me tell you about its record this year. We have had 25 betting picks according to this system, and the average odds have been minus 108 or 1.92 in decimal. This means that on average we've had some slight favorites, I would argue. So you don't necessarily need to have won 60% of your picks to be profitable. But we got a 16-9 record, and if you take into account the odds of each of those 25 bets, your return on investment has been plus 20.9%. So it has done a great job this year. That basically reinforces my confidence in this pick. By the way, I don't think I mentioned it already, but this is an official bet that I've decided to make today. Some more arguments. Well, the Twins are starting Bailey Hober. It's quite interesting what I saw about this guy. Let me show you his past 4 games that you can see on those 4 rows here. Look at the base on balls or the walks. He has not allowed a single walk in any of his past 4 outings. However, he has not done that great. He has allowed 13 earned runs in 21 innings. Now, if you convert that into an ERA, that means that he had a 5.57 ERA in his past 4 starts. Now, he has played 5 games against Detroit in his career, and he has not done well. His career ERA against the Tigers is 5.40. It's also worth of note that Donovan Solano might miss this game. He made an awkward slide yesterday, and he got hurt to his knee and or his ankle. He's a good part of this team, so they could be missing him, which is good if you're thinking about betting the Tigers. All right, meanwhile, the Tigers will start Alex Faedo, who was just recalled from AAA. This season in the major league, he has a 5.80 ERA, which is quite bad, but he has a surprisingly good whip statistic. Again, if you have not watched many of my videos, let me recall that the whip statistic means the number of walks plus hits per inning pitch. So you want a low number here. And the league average is 1.30. If your whip stat is close to 1, that is awesome. And that's exactly the case of Faedo. So that's quite surprising. Well, in about 36 innings, he has allowed just 29 hits and 8 walks. But I believe his big problem has been home runs. He has allowed 7 long balls this year. If he could avoid that, his numbers would be a lot better because he does not surrender many hits nor many walks. In fact, he has allowed 3 runs or less, which is quite good, in 5 of his 7 outings. So I believe he can do the job. The Tigers are at home, so I'm going to swing for the fences and take a big underdog. I'm taking the Tigers to win this game. So this is my first play. All right. Up next, sound is good. Okay, so let's move on to the second pick, which is backed by the snapped losing streak number 2 betting system that recommends fading the home team that won its last game after losing at least 4 in a row if they are facing the same opponent and if their money line is better than minus 200, which means, for example, minus 180, minus 150, or they could be underdogs. All right, now if you take a look at the Angels schedule, Let's go there. I want to show you. So they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row before finally winning last night, which, as you saw earlier, was one of my premium picks. All right, so that fits the first criteria. Let's move on to the second. They must be facing the same opponent as yesterday. It's the case. They are still facing the Giants. And the money line on the Angels must be better than minus 200. That's the case. So, based on this system, we should fade the Angels, which explains why the second system pick is the Giants. But as you can see here, there's a big red cross, big red X. I don't like this pick for a few reasons. Well, first of all, the Giants are starting a 27-year-old rookie named Ryan Walker. He has been very effective, but I find it hard to trust a guy that lacks experience, that has such limited experience. He has pitched 39 innings in the big leagues, and he is facing my man, Shohei Ohtani, who has some very strong numbers. He has some experience. So I believe this could have been a valid bet, but with odds that would be much higher. I don't feel comfortable betting at plus 115 odds, which are relatively low odds for an underdog, when I have a rookie against Ohtani. So to me, that's not a good play. Also, the Giants have been much better at home than on the road. They have a 33-24 record at home versus about a 500 record when playing on the road. So personally, I am going to pass. So I'm not necessarily saying that we should bet the Angels. I'm just saying I'm not betting this game at all. Okay, I want to clarify that. Okay, up next, the third pick is backed by a system that I like much better. Sorry, let me go back to the snap losing streak number 2. That there's one more reason why I'm not taking this bet. This system has produced a 13-14 record this year, so about a 500 record. But last year, we had a 10-18 record, which was quite awful. Now, the third potential pick is called the comeback. It recommends betting any team that came back from a deficit of 4+ runs in their previous game if they're facing the same opponent and their money line must be better than minus 175. We want to avoid big favorites because they have not shown to be profitable in my 7-year data set. All right, now can you guess which team fits? If you take a look at yesterday's games, I must have missed it right here. As you can see, after 2 innings, Baltimore led 5-0, but the Houston Astros stormed back by winning 7-6, including a grand slam in the top of the 9th inning. So, the Astros did come back from a 4+ run deficit. They are facing the same opponent, and their money line today is much, much better than minus 175. So, the comeback betting strategy recommends taking the Houston Astros at plus 110 odds. Now, let me say a few more words about this potential bet. Well, I do like this play. I did put a wager this morning. So the comeback system this year has done a okay job. We have had average odds of plus 100, which means that in order to be profitable, you needed a win percentage above 50%. And in this case, we've had 18 wins, 17 losses. So that translated into an ROI of plus 1.9%, which is small, but still positive. And last year, we had a ROI of plus 16% due to this system, because we picked up a 16-13 record at average odds of plus 110. So in other words, we had more underdogs than favorites, and yet we came up with a positive record. So that's reassuring. Now, both teams are quite hot. Houston has a 6-2 record lately, whereas Baltimore has a 7-2 record recently. Now, Christian Javier will be on the mound for the Astros. He is currently having his worst MLB season out of the 4 that he has spent in MLB. He went through a pretty rough stretch in June. Now he has done better lately. If you take a look at his past 4 outings, he has allowed either 2 or 3 runs in each of them, which was decent. I'm not saying he's on fire or that he is back to his old form. He's having a disappointing season, but it's still possible that he will finally wake up. It's not like he was declining because of his age. There's no reason that he should be much worse this year. I think he has a chance to finally wake up in the second half of the season. He will be facing Jack Flaherty, who did very well in his Orioles debut. He started the game against Toronto by allowing a single, then a walk, and then after that, he retired 15 straight Blue Jays, which was quite impressive. Now this year, he has a pretty decent 4.28 ERA. But if you take a look at the famous whip statistic that I value much more, and remember that the league average is 1.30, his whip stat is 1.52. So that's much higher than the league average. So he's had a lot of traffic on the bases when he's been on the mound. All right, so for all of these reasons, this is an official pick. I am taking the Astros to pull off the upset. So this is a second underdog I am taking today. Oh, my friend Petro from Montreal says he is scared by the Houston bet. Yes, well, I can understand how it is a fairly scary bet. But I'm still taking a shot. All right, now the fourth pick, the fourth system pick, I should say, is backed by a system called the cold versus hot team matchup, whose rules are very simple. Bet the road team if the road team lost at least 1 game in a row, whereas the home squad won at least 4 games in a row. All right, so in this case, which team should we bet? Let me show you. Let's take a look at the current standings. So today the Padres are on the road and they have lost 3 straight games. Remember that the first criterion was the road team must have lost at least 1 game in a row. In the case of San Diego, they've lost 3 straight. And the home team, in this case Seattle, must have won at least 4 in a row. Well, right now they are riding a 6-game winning streak. So that's why the fourth system pick is the San Diego Padres at minus 125 odds, which I believe is the same as 1.80 if you are more familiar with decimal odds. Now, do I like this pick enough to place a bet? Well, let's see. Well, first of all, I have to say I'm not a big fan of this betting system. In fact, it's one that I like the least. Among the 19 I've developed, is probably in the bottom 5 because it has lost money so far in 2023. It lost money last year. It lost money the year before as well. And then it did generate some pretty big profit, I have to admit, in 2019. But still, that's 3 years in a row where it generated some losses. Now, in my data set, which concerned prior years, it did well, obviously. Otherwise, I would not be talking about it. But I have lost a lot of confidence. So for this reason, this year, I rarely bet a team that is backed by this system, but I'm going to do an exception and I will bet the San Diego Padres today. Well, one of the reasons is Yu Darvish is on the mound for San Diego. He's had a fairly disappointing first half of the season. Since the All-Star break, he's had 4 good outings out of his 5. Now he has the highest ERA and the highest WHIP statistic that he's had over the past 5 seasons. So this is clearly a disappointing year for him. He is now 36 years old, so you could be wondering, well, is age finally catching up to him? Maybe, but I'm not convinced yet. I believe he still has plenty of gas left in the tank, and he could rebound and have a good second portion to the MLB regular season. And today he will be facing a rookie called Emerson Hancock. In AAA with Arkansas, he presented a 4.99 ERA, which is quite disappointing. So can you imagine what it will be like in the big leagues? Although I have read that he has done much better in his past 4 starts. So who knows what will happen today. But still, you're offering me to bet an established guy like Yu Darvish at pretty reasonable odds against a guy that has never pitched in Major League. To me, that's enough reasons to actually make a bet on the Padres. I am taking them. All right, and then I have a bonus tip for you. So the next one is not supported by any of my 19 systems, but based on my own analysis of the situation, I believe this could be a valid play. Well, let me tell you right away that I will call it a lean. I have not placed a bet yet. Maybe I will, and if I do, it may be a smaller bet than usual. All right, so be careful with this play. You won't be surprised by it because yesterday I told you that I felt like, well, I know that the Tampa Bay Rays went through a rough stretch, but they fell back, I believe, like 3 games behind the Orioles, and now they seem to be waking up, and I feel like they are back to their old form. And I have really this strong feeling that they could go very hot. So for this reason, my 5th potential pick for today is the Tampa Bay Rays. The best odds I found this morning were minus 150. Again, this is a lean. Today, this will be a bullpen game for the Rays. Jalen Beeks will start. He has not done very well this year, but his counterpart, Dakota Hudson, is not great either. And as you probably know, the Cards are sinking fast. In their last 17 games, they have a 5-12 record. So to me, the Rays are much better than the Cards. They are at home where they have done extremely well, and the pitching duel is not necessarily in favor of the Cards. Maybe a little bit, but even then, I'm not even sure that's true. And yet, we are getting very reasonable odds of minus 150. So you could take a shot on the Rays or not. It's really up to you. As usual, I'm just sharing my own thoughts, and you are free to do what you want with the information I give you. All right, so if you want let me end with a quick recap. I know that people appreciate recaps. For the first official pick, I'm taking a shot on a pretty big underdog, the Detroit Tigers, at home against Minnesota. Then I recommended to avoid the Giants, so I'm not going to talk about it. The second official pick is the Astros as small underdogs in Baltimore. And the third and final official pick is the San Diego Padres as small favorites in Seattle, as I believe they will halt Seattle's 6-game winning streak later tonight. And like I just discussed, I have a lean on the Tampa Bay Rays at minus 150 odds. Okay, so that would be it for me. I hope you appreciated this live stream. Let me read some comments. Big Blue Jay says, I believe Beeks is just being used as an opener. Yeah, that's true. That's a good observation. He is probably going to pitch just 1 or 2 innings, so it's no big deal to me that he's not pitched very well this year. That does not scare me that much because he won't be on the mound for a long period of time anyway. So that's a good argument. Thanks for pointing it out. Daphne's Ace 34 says, if you place a bet on Rays, let us know. Yeah, perhaps I could do that in the chat if I do. Well, like I said, if I do bet the Rays, it won't be my typical bet, maybe a smaller one. Hello to Fred Thomas, who came in late. No worries. I'm glad that you are here. All right. Well, all right, so that's it for me. I hope you really liked this live stream. Thanks so much for joining. I'll be back Thursday and Friday as usual with some pre-recorded videos with more baseball picks for you. Well, also yesterday I had a plan to do a NFL video to talk about one of the picks I've made for the first preseason week. By the way, in case you did not know it already, I have posted more than a week ago, I can't remember when it was, super early NFL Week 1 picks. So I recommended 3 official picks for Week 1 of the regular season. Now, for those of you who are paid members, I did share a pick earlier this week, and I wanted to do a video about it, but the line has changed so much that I figured it was not really worth it anymore. I can tell you what it is just for fun if you're interested. So earlier, I believe it was last Sunday, I said that I was taking the Carolina Panthers. At the time, the point spread was 0 against the Jets, but yesterday, when I was about to do the video, I realized that the point spread moved to -3.5, or even some sports books had the Panthers favored by 4 points. So that makes me super excited about the bet that I recommended last Sunday to all of my members. We got a great bargain by getting them with a spread of 0. So all they have to do is win the game. All right, so I really invite you to watch my super early NFL Week 1 picks. I hope you will like them. I will make another NFL video maybe 1 week before the season starts. Okay, so this is Professor MJ, a 15-year university statistics teacher from Quebec City in Canada. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.